Dear friends, in this video we are going to see how to use drop NA function. Okay, so this is particularly used when you want to remove any particular rows or columns, right? So here the syntax is data frame name dot drop NA. Okay, data frame name dot drop NA. So drop NA is a function which contains the parameters axis, how, thresh, subset, and in place. So here axis. So here axis will take two values, either 0 or 1. Okay, that represents rows or columns. I mean index or columns. Okay, through index or through columns, it should perform uh, the process to drop a particular row or column. So you can take the value x for axis as 0 or 1. And how is equal to, it will take two values here. How equal to any, how equal to all. Okay, any will be considered to drop the rows or columns if any value is null. Okay, and all will be considered if all values are null. Okay, now here thresh, it will mention some threshold value like which tells minimum amount of NA values to be dropped. Okay, and similarly subset and in place. So here you can use these parameters under drop NA function. The brief description of it, each parameter is given here, right? Now let's implement in a simple data frame. So here I'm taking the data frame, import pandas as PD, and the data frame with key value pairs here are like dictionary A, B, C, D and their corresponding values. Now when you run this code, it will show you the data frame. Now you can observe the various NaN values as per index or as per column. You can understand it. Now on this code, on this data frame, I'm going to use df.dropNA. What about this function? It to drop rows with at least one NaN value. It to drop rows with at least one NaN value. So what could be the output? Can you guess on this above data frame? If I apply drop NA function, can you guess the output? It drop rows with at least one NaN value. So now, if I run this code, you can check the output. So now check here. What is the output? Row wise, it will drop rows with at least one NaN value. Now, if you just check at 0, index 0, 1 NaN value, so remove. At index 2, 2 NaN value, remove. 3, 2 in NaN value, remove. 4, 1 NaN value, remove. Now at index 1, there is no NaN value. So that is the output. It drop rows with at least one NaN value, right? So you can use this method if you want to remove the rows which contains at least one NaN value. Okay. Now on this same data frame, I'm going to consider here again. Okay. Now here I am taking how equal to all. All is the value, which means which it drops the row which contains all null values. Okay, which contains all null values. Let's see. This is the basic data frame again. The previous one only we have considered. Now, if I run this code, so any changes that you noticed? Did you notice any changes? Right? So why the result is like this? Because how equal to all means it drops the row which contains all null values. It will select the row which contains all the values are null in that particular row, then it is deleted. So here if you observe at 0th index, it contains only one, not all the values. At index 1, there is no null value at all. At index 2, only two null values, not all. Similarly, at index 3 and at index 4. So it displays the entire data frame again. Okay, by performing how equal to all in the drop NA function. So it drops the row which contains all the values in that particular row are null, right? Now I'll consider the same data frame. Now at this moment, I'm going to implement a drop NA function with x is equal to 1. Okay, x is equal to 1. So drop columns with at least one null value. It drops the columns with at least one null value. So here now it will check column wise. Okay, to drop rows, change x is equal to 0. You can take two values for axis, 0 or 1. If you mention 1, it drops the columns with at least one null value. So it means column by column it will check. If it contains at least one null value, it will be deleted. If you want to check it row by row, then you need to give the value x is equal to 0. Now let us run this code. This is the data frame, right? Now I'm going to implement x is equal to 1. Now here what did we say? X is equal to 1. It checks column by column and it removes with at least one null value, right? So now if you check column by column, A, under column A, one null value, under column B, two null values, under column C, one null value, under column D, two null values. So all these A, B, C, D are removed and the remaining is only with the index. That is the output, right? Now consider this code here. Import pandas as PD. Now I have used the read function. Now I have used the read function to load the data set .csv format, and I have used data dot drop NA with parameters axis and how. Okay. Now use this code to load the data set and implement a drop NA function with the parameters x is equal to 0 and how equal to any, right? So use this code to load the data set, read underscore CSV, load the data set by giving the path of the file and implement drop NA function with two parameters mentioning axis equal to 0 and how equal to any, and check this. The previous code what I have explained is what are the parameters that you can pass on the data frame I have explained. Now you consider the path of the file on the .csv file, apply the same drop NA function and check the output. Okay, now the following three print functions are: you can check the length of the data in the data frame. Here I have mentioned data equal to. So you can check the length of the data. That will be the first print statement. And new data, right? You can check the number of rows in new data. That means length of new data, right? Now you can check the number of rows dropped with at least one null value. That also you can check, right? So here check the code, right? And check the output with the corresponding code, with the given code, right? Thank you.